Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. This is Julia with JFK Freedom, and I would like to give the Lord credit and thank Him for blessing me with these words, placing them in my mouth, and appointing them this day over the nations and the kingdoms of the earth, if they so choose to listen, to uproot and break down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. And yeah, so I will just be using my headset for a while, and we'll just keep going with this. There is some end time stuff, more about like the mentality you need to survive the end times, and yeah, he challenges that, saying we are not appointed to wrath. I've mentioned it before. I believe the Lord is speaking of eternal judgment in that sense, or like a real judgment. And there is a difference between a judgment and a whop. And I did have a vision of the Lord with a stick, like a staff that a shepherd uses, like whacking the sheep, multiple sheep today. Yeah, that just means he loves you. So if you're getting a whop, like, it sucks and it hurts, but it's better to receive wounds from a friend than from an enemy, for sure. Of course, we'd rather not have wounds at all, but his wounds are meant to make us holy and help us heal as well. Okay, besides that, I can't really remember what it's about today, but you guys do have a long word today, so I will just go ahead and get started. Yeah, so I have my little stand here. I got my little stand from the kitchen and reading from that. All right, so we spoke last time about the last days. The Lord's basically saying, like, you will be seeing more people that are demon possessed, so don't be so shocked by that, and don't be so freaked out. I'm preaching to myself too right now. All right, it says, do you think, dear one, that you could just maybe get over some of that disgusting to you to perceive it, Shiza, showing up on their faces of the last days, dear ones? It's for sure the last days, dogs. And some of you who've already got over your being a dog status can see it in the other boys' eyes of demonic and sparkling sometimes, dear ones, with, yes, dear ones, think hatred of you and yours and your goods and all that you are, dear ones. And to my African Americans listening today, folks, forgive her, dear ones, for not knowing what's culturally acceptable, politically correct anymore. Too many, dear ones. Yeah, huns, so I speak of the rules you place over your mouths, dear ones. And is she? She is, dear ones, pretty sick of all that silly sickness, vacay censorship by now, dear ones. But, well, I'm stuck on YouTube, boys, so I might as well stick with it, huns. Yeah, dogs. So I speak of her channel in this hour, for will she? It will, dear ones, be to her credit some day, and perhaps one day soon, dear ones, that hopping, skipping, skip-stepping around an issue, hot topic, dear ones. It's for sure what many of you need to learn to do in this hour, boys. That cool cabin you got locked away in the woods with ammo and gear. Don't, dear ones, be bragging to any and every pretty Christian girl you see about that, Shiza. Okay, dear ones? Think more like allies and associates, dear ones. Yeah, babes, so I speak of who's truly associating with you at this time, dear ones. And are they trustworthy? Ask me, dear ones, like her, babes, like her in this hour for sure of. And can I, Papa, trust this big, bad, hairy dog of a man over here, Lord, who just still won't seem to go for the gold and speak to me, Lord? Yeah, dude, so it's bad, dear ones. Pretty bad out there in the other world of don't, dear ones. Yeah, dog, so I speak of giving out your info online, dear ones, especially about phone calls, dear ones. And yeah, sweethearts, I mean a good old-fashioned video call for the win, babes. He winked. To see if... Yeah, so this chick here is just playing around, bro. Just messing with me a little bit to see if... Comfort, dear ones, it's what most people want in this hour, folks. And is anyone really packing up and moving their A-word like I told them to? Nah, not really, folks. More like he was talking about the animal, actually, in this section. More like asses, monkeys, and the sweetest, cutest. I know it, dear ones. Boy, howdy do I know it, honey bunnies. That some of you actually for sure don't want to move your ass, donkey. Ain't no horse and cart, folks. This ain't the 1800s, dear ones, as she so wisely pointed out to y'all folks. Some of the amazing monetary and physical benefits of the 20th century, dear ones, allowing you to, yeah, babes, think cans on the brain. For will it? It will, dear ones, save the day for you for a time. But let I am give it to you straight, babes. If you are for sure in disobedience to me, in the wrong location, folks, well, folks, ain't none of that shiza gonna make a condemned bit of difference, dear ones, to your fate. And are you? Some of you listening on this channel are for sure actually called to, yeah, dear ones. Think survival in the scariest, upheavalistic, evil, dear ones. The times you live in are for sure evil. But if I will, let some of you remain till I return. Well, what business is that of yours, sad sack Peter, to get called to your own upside-down croats? Ain't no confusion about it, folks. Some of you are for sure called to remain in Babylon and be, yeah, dudes, so I speak of Daniel, but more than that. And these wise men had a bit less of access to my sweet as hell heaven, more like it, folks. Yeah, dear ones, so I speak of my Holy Spirit's power in them, waxing and waning at times like you, dear sons of mine, listening today of, he's speaking of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But did they, dear ones? Yeah, babes, so they went. They went into the fire willingly, dear ones. Weren't spewing out no shiza from their mouths that day of, God did not appoint me and my goods to wrath, so not a hair of my head will be singed. Well, it wasn't, dear ones, was it? But did they go into that could have been terrible ordeal to them with that type of haughty as F attitude? And her, dear ones, do you see her proclaiming sillily to you all that I'll just remove that thorn in the flesh because I'm a big bad prophetess? Exactly, dear ones. Exactly, Hans. The humility and type of resigned to I am's will for your life attitude, and I need to see operating more for sure in some of your countenances, dear ones. For if a removed from Mystery Babylon all those years ago and abused as F, but still prideful American, needs deadly whops like this to get her in shape, well, what do you think, folks? I'm just gonna let you slip into eternity singing your silly, this is my best life now, bees, mantra of silly, dear ones. Some of you are downright silly as hell, frogs being boiled into submission. Dear ones, it's what the higher-ups want on your E-words of. And if you can submit to that joker's plans for America, come on, folks, do you think for 1 second I am that I am wants any of you men to be grabbing some random chick's pussycat and calling it ho okay? I know ho about it, folks. This chick has been taken off the dating market in the past in error. Yes, to the wrong man, so it's too true, dear ones. It's true. But did she? She did, folks, need a covering and protection at that time from her own condemned self for floundering, dear ones. And I don't mean in good ways, dear ones. But, well, she's over a lot of that shiza by now, and would she? Yeah, so I know that my marriage in the past was not given approval by the Lord, but I did pray at that time. So if you think I didn't pray, I did. I just didn't get a yes or a no from the Lord at that time if I could marry him. And then it took me years, but I realized it was better for me to be off the dating market and covered in the protection of a marriage than still single, because I could not do very good with the single life, obviously. Back to the message. She would, dear ones, make a good wifey material status there, absolument. Yes, dudes, to one of you blokes, but him, dudes, it's for sure meant to be him, dear ones, too. Scared as hell to chat up this sweet chick, check. And why won't she leave his sorry as hell A-word, Lord? Yeah, dudes, it's exactly what some of you've been thinking on her A-word all this time, and there she goes again, blowing your top and perception of her all out of the water again, too. Secrets, dear ones. This little big saggy tits to match it all has some terrible to her to know it secrets that could murder, dear ones. Now that she's not actually on the list for murder anymore, and some of you dark ones listening know exactly what I'm on about over here when I say too much, dear ones. Yeah, babes, it's what she knows. Dear ones, that's for sure gotten her in trouble in past times when it comes to men, dear ones. But him, babes. Well, let's just say he's a big ol' full of mystery dude to her as well, sons. And pegged dudes. And down for the count, dudes. Yeah, son, so I speak of her attitudes towards some of you more worldly men, dogs. For a woman like her who's been through a lot, seen a lot, and yeah, dude, still seeing a lot of Shiza that she just can't seem to talk about with anyone. Well, let I am give it to you straight, folks, a head level above the rest, dudes. And not in a good way to some of you manly men who just think you know all of what's up, Buttercup, and she don't. Yeah, dudes. Think not a type of connection miteinander I am likes to see go forth, and is it not? It is, dear ones, exactly the type of sad, my hubby is a little too dumb for my taste type of relationship she's found herself in for years, dear ones. Oh, don't flare up on me, folks, and get it twisted on my A-word, dudes. You are for sure smart. Some of you listening to her sweet voice anyway, each week of leave it, dear ones, to me. Yeah, dude, so I mean her and her goods in you someday. Not meant to happen for reals deals, dudes. Nobody, sons. And I mean it when I say to you folks, nah, none of you dogs will ever stick it into her, so just get over it, dudes. And are you? Some of you are, sons, just as, if not more complicated than her. So will I. By the way, I know the Lord is like talking me up here, but it's my brain. My brain is able to do a lot of complicated stuff, but when I speak, it just comes across as quite simple. So I have that dichotomy to myself in general, I think. Don't want y'all to think I'm some kind of prideful about it. I know I do way better writing out my thoughts than speaking. So he says, really, dudes, you think I'd just shick a simple as hell woman your way all because, yeah, dudes, think a lot of simple humanity bucking up and soon, or fall into the wayside of, you know what, folks? I think this Christian style lifestyle saying no to the mark of the beast thing is too hard. For my prissy as hell, gotta have all my sweet goods for myself, self. Yeah, dudes, think ladies going wonkers at times in a bad way to see. What, Lord, I can't buy me no new shoes on Amazon this week? Yeah, dogs, it's gonna be bad. And in that sense of the Rhema word, those of my manly men listening today, one up, sons. And yeah, I mean on the women, dudes. For are they? They can for sure be some princessy, worldly, little, or big rather, like Kim Kardashian types out there of, what dog, are you so stupid as to not let that thing get stuck in you, son? All just so that you can, what do? You actually want me to go live with you in a cabin in the woods? Yeah, dudes, think splitting. And no, I don't mean no psychology term today, dear ones, of, yeah, dudes. So at some point, some of you may actually have to cut your losses in this life as well, like her folks. Dear ones to me, for these types of tough as hell decisions of heaven, dear ones, and you know it, folks. These tough as hell decisions one day coming up in a crazy as hell world near you will lead you to heaven. Leave it, dear ones, to me for now. Yeah, so I speak of her heavenly touch in your eyes story, man. Going to the wrong man. Nah, dudes, not wrong at all. Just well, let I am give it to you straight, folks. He's scared shizeless, dear ones. And yeah, I mean of her silly ogre of a hubby. For does he know, dear ones, how the shiza would really play out and go down if she were to try to leave his abusive as hell A-word at this point? Nah, dear ones, not really, and no thanks, I'm not playing this divorce game with you right now, you joker. Yeah, dear ones, think her thoughts at this time. For did I not? I did, dear ones, actually tell her many long months ago, years almost, by now, that yeah, hun, so I'll take care of this joker for you someday, babe, of pray, dear ones, for them if you have any ounce of compassion for them, dear ones. He's really a sweet guy, and she's as sweet to me, gal, if they could but just. They are, dear ones, playing some very cute, much like junior high games on one another's A-words. A-words at this time of, and is she looking my way, boys? Well, I better. Yeah, dudes, think sleuth moding it out in the craziest, making her head and heart spin in the wrong direction at times, like your world is about to do, dear ones. This ain't no Hollywood survival movie, folks, and you ain't no Brad Pitt, dude. Okay, he doesn't really do those types of movies anymore. Okay, never at all, dear ones, for is he? He is, dear ones, too cool for school to play in those types of stupid roles, Shiza in his view, dear ones. And you, babes, do you think for 1 second, like her, at times, I'm a real Shiza-y god to let you go through some making you holy as F, Shiza, in this lifetime? Nah, come on, dear ones. Come on, babes. I know you ladies feel I've forgotten you today, dear ones. Well, I haven't, little darlings. I haven't, sweethearts. And will you? Can you? Do you think, dear ones, for just 1 minute you could cut her a little slack for all this jizz wanting to squirt in her direction so much? B just needs to get over herself. Oh, she's over it, dear ones. Sorry, I hope I'm not laughing because I'm like happy to hear this or anything. So just laughing at this situation myself, okay? It says, "Oh, she's over it, dear ones. In fact, so over it, she's ready to turn the knob, switch this YouTube channel off at times. And you, dear ones, what do you think, babes, my babesters of the hour? You think maybe some of you could forgive these boys of, ain't no boys about it, ladies, my latesters of the hour. And are some of them? They are, dear ones, for sure. Some of them are future hubby material for you, dear sis. And yes, when will he just stop saying it? Well, I'll stop it, sis. When are you gonna start believing me that? Yeah, babe, so one of these jokers could actually be your future, but dust hubby if you'll but just hang in there for me, folks, for the ride of a lifetime, dear ones, for it's about to be some seriously crazy end of the world waters out there in. Okay, just to pause, just so you know, when he says like some of you may be husband or wife material for each other, that does not necessarily mean you will know who the other person is or actually meet or connect in this lifetime. But it is possible that you will have this connection somehow through the beliefs that you're taking on and the trust you have in the Lord and some of the people you may be following now at this point on YouTube. The Lord can connect people spiritually speaking without connecting them physically speaking. So, and y'all know that's true. So, and you can think of, I like to think of that story with, I think it was Isaac and Rebecca. When Isaac met Rebecca, it sounds pretty crazy that he like cried and cried actual tears and kissed her and wept, but I think there was way more going on in that story, spiritually speaking, and they just knew, somehow they just knew they were meant for each other. So there's more to it than just the physical. Okay, here he starts talking about LA. Crazy end of the world waters out there in La La Land. Dear ones, pray and pray hard, sweetie beaties. If this is you today, if it's where you find yourselves today of, is this it, Lord? Yeah, folks, so I am that I am speaks of your final resting place, dear ones. For will it just plop into the ocean like that? Some of you have funny rather, the thoughts you shake my way at times of, yes, dear ones, let's just confirm all those silly in your view, dear man listening today, dreams and visions of, ain't no silly about it, son. That sun is gonna pop off the horizon of your eyes one day if you, well, let's just leave that. Okay, I had a bit, part of the vision from that part was like the waters come over the area and the person is going under the water. It will look like the sun is going down, but it's really the person going under the water. So that's, he was talking about drowning in that part. Well, let's just leave that sick in his view thought there for now, folks. And yes, dear ones, love you all a big one for sure, or I wouldn't be. Yeah, so here I had the vision of him whacking different sheep in the head with the staff. I'm sorry, it was actually funny to see. If I ever saw it in real life, I would for sure laugh. And I am one of the sheep who gets whops, so don't think I'm above it, for sure. He was like hitting several sheep in a row very hard on the head, so I guess it would be a shepherd trying to get the herd going one way because he has to get going. There would be no need to do that if everything was fine. But if there's like a storm coming or there's a predator or we got to go in for the night, then of course the shepherd has to be going fast and going hard in on the sheep sometimes. So he said, yes, dear ones, love you all a big one for sure, or it wouldn't be, yeah, dogs, think whacking the shiza out of some of you at times. And will she? She will, dudes, finally be calming the F down eventually on a Sunday, coming up near you of, well, I guess this dear sweet so-called man ain't never gonna chat me up, folks, so I think I'll just, yeah, folks, think relaxing on his jaded A-word enough to finally, ain't no jaded about it, folks, he's as bright and perky as they come. And is he, or has he been rather, waiting for her to sillily, yeah, folks, think getting her happy as hell shies it together on his A-word for months, dear ones. She's been practicing her fake happy face for months, dudes. So slack, dear ones. She's for sure camping. This one's naive as F, silly views on how a future wifey, but abused as F at the moment, and he knows it. Right. Woman should operate. Boy howdy und wien. Does he know it, folks? Here he winked. Yeah, dudes. Think wine country like California. He was just playing on words there, but basically Wien is similar to the Italian word vino, is like the wine and the vine. So it is like California in the sense they have a lot of vineyards, but obviously the wine is a little bit different here, and they're more famous for their sour wine. So he said, yeah, dudes, think wine country like California. But will it be the wine me and dine me, dear boy, in this sunsetty weather for all time? Much longer, dear ones. Nah, folks, not really, dear ones, not really. And her, dear ones, is he ready to wine and dine her? Well, let a dude chat up a real cute bee first, and then we will see if. Relax for me, bro. Ain't nothing gone down yet on their A-words at all. Has it, son? Exactly, dude, exactly. So chillax everyone like she's finally doing, dear ones. A filly in this dating way and the cutest, sweetest. I think I could maybe actually like this guy, Lord. Well, yeah, dude, so she does. So she does. And will she? She will, dear ones, be getting some terribly seething at seep hatred from all quarters at that time of what B word? So you just stole him right out from under our noses, B, our youngest dream man? Yeah, dear ones, it's gonna be bad out in them crusty Viennese waters of crust-like, dear ones. Some of your hearts are crumbling a little more for her as we speak miteinander, each week at the moment. Oh, you didn't know it's present tense time? Your time, dear ones? Well, what did she actually sweetly, astutely on my A-words say, dear ones? Think present tense on your E-words. Present tense always operating with you when I'm around, dear ones. No matter when you click the video. I told y'all it's like a wheel, but that was a long time ago. So maybe y'all forgot or you're new to the channel. Welcome. I have no clue how many numbers we have here and how many people. Yeah, so the vision of the wheel, I can't remember if it's in Ezekiel or what prophet it was who spoke of the wheels turning, but basically the wheel can bring up what's important in it. I think it can also represent time in a way. So the Lord's present tense can meet you right where you are right now. That's why I like my intro. Plus, it's a reference to the Truman Show, but the Lord can work through any time, space, any time conundrum. Even if you were like traveling in time and you think you're not able to be where the Lord is, he can break through that time travel stuff. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so just if y'all are wondering, he's in his late 20s, and I would not ever really think that I would be looking at someone younger than myself for a second go around, but basically the Lord assures me that this is meant to go forward. So there are plus and minuses on both our sides from our views for each other, but the Lord has been working with me privately through some of those things. And here is the ending. It says, you get me, folks. Love everybody. Let's let it roll around, come around to everyone in Christ, folks. And that includes, yeah, her, dear ones, believe it or not, folks. Believe me in her or not, dear ones. Here he winked. It's as simple and beautiful like her as all that, dear ones. It truly is. Remember, he can cause your lamp to be lighted and to shine. The Lord my God illumines my darkness, for by you I can crush a troop, and by my God I can leap over a wall. God bless.